Good evening, folks, and welcome to the Square D, the Jack the Ripper of GAA Analytics. My name is Connor Galvin, and I'm joined as ever by the professor himself, the irrepressible Mr. Stephen O'Mara. Stephen, you keeping well?
I am indeed.
Very good. Listen, this is an exciting night for GAA Pro Stats. The commercial launch is now upon us. The software, folks, is complete. This is now for sale. Okay, tonight we're going to bring you through a feature of exactly how this works. A full overview. We're going to lead in with examples, both club and county. And we're going to decipher exactly what this can do for you, your club, and how it can drive improvements and standards. We're about to open the Pandora box of GAA Pro Stats. Okay, so folks, as we go along, just remember our website, gaaprostats.com. Very important, okay? That is where it is now on full commercial sale going forward. Stephen, a very proud day for you. You must be excited.
Yeah, look, it's a kind of a work in progress, in that I actually built the software for commercial sale about 6-7 years ago, and in the process of advertising it opened up a world of opportunities. I ended up working with county senior teams, and I suppose at the start was with Galway at 18, and then into 19 Galway footballers. Suppose didn't really want this stuff. It's, there's kind of money ball elements to it. I didn't really want it out there, and I put the kibosh on the sales side of it, so I could hoard it just for myself. But yeah, look, different stage now, and I'm keen to maybe stay out of that in the stadium, involved with county team stage, and go back down that commercial route. So yeah, here to show off what it can do, and I suppose in terms of the show, the week-by-week show of the National League, to explain some of the nuances of how it works, absolutely, and the operation.
Yeah, I think the beautiful thing here, folks, right, there's a great story here. Stephen, who I've known for many years from our school days, this is what you call a self-made man. He had the concept around what a fully functional statistics program would look like. He went off then initially with a pen and paper and a couple of spreadsheets, and he began to formulate data going back probably 10 odd years ago, and basically has stuck religiously to his principles around the concept. It's evolved over time, and what we have now today, albeit always in an evolutionary cycle, we have an end product. This is basically Stephen's dream from his quest all those many moons ago, and those cold wintry evenings in Parnell Park, sitting up the back with a few hacks to where it's at today. So listen, Steve, I can certainly say for myself, very proud of you, exceptionally well done. Okay, and I think those of us who are quite loyal followers and who tune in, you're going to find great value as we go through this tonight. And when we look at the different examples from Monaghan to obviously Stephen's days in Galway, all right, and in Tinner more recently down in County Carlow. I remember when Stephen took that job, Tinner were nailed on relegation favourites by a mile. They're 28-30 to 1 to win the championship. And what happened? Well, the rest, they say, is history. So look at, without further ado, right, give us an overview here of give us an overview of the whole concept.
Yeah. For those that don't play with Carlow football, in case of the situation, the championship was one, it wasn't. But there were two finals there, which probably wasn't in line with bookies odds from the get-go. So look, listen, got to look here at first, with people who are watching the show week by week. Going to give you the basic data first, which is, just a quick run through of the operation now. So look, in terms of the operation itself, assuming you're working post-match, you'd have the match video up here on the right, and you'd have your field over here on the left. So this is just a game of play around with a dummy video. But for the purpose of illustration here, we give you a full pitch, which you could operate on if you're working live or whatnot. And the clock is ticking in the background. So let's assume here, team on the left, Tinner Island, they had a short kick off. You literally press the button where the event happens, and it will ask you a question. So it's incredibly idiot-proof. Clean, no mark, clean mark, won it off for free, whatever. So it's there. Go up the field. Got a point shot, no pressure, moderate pressure, high pressure, over blocking hands. And the purpose there is there's 80 plus zones there, and the expected score is worked into that. So they shoot a wide for the sake of argument, but there's an expected score based off, as I say, 6,000 kickouts or shots plus at this stage, which will feed into your expected score. Again, say the ball is kicked out, lands at midfield, it's automated here to midfield, that's the zone. And this data is all going into the table at the back end. Let's say, for the sake of argument, there was a turnover here, press the button, what happened? Turnover. So again, you see again how idiot-proof it is. If team one went up the field again and they've got a point shot, high pressure, that will obviously give a different expected score to no pressure. They score a point here, and you can see again the orange squares on the side to make sure you don't lose track of where you're at. So it's literally whatever the event is, kick out, turnover, or shot. You click on the pitch where it happened, and it will ask you a question. And it is really operationally as simple as that. But what I'm going to show you, I suppose, in the context of where we're at this weekend, I'm going to go into the Kerry-Derry game. So with that, and I suppose the point of this is that it's a single operator is operating this, and this will give you. We'll go into the actuary and the money ball of all of this shortly. But
so very simply, right? Just on that shot there, okay. So all you need in the ground is a single operator with a camera and a laptop.
Not even a camera. I mean, if you want to do post-match, you need the game recorded. All you need is a laptop, a Windows laptop, not Mac. All you need is a Windows laptop and a pair of eyes. That's all you actually need. Yeah, that's the size of it. Obviously, you're going post-match. I put up that video to show if you're going post-match. In-game, you just put in a dummy video, and then you swap that for the actual video after the game, and all the time sync up, so you're not doing the work twice. So, and I'll show you, as I say, this is a single operator operating live. And funny, I've seen club teams in Dublin doing sort of 2/3 of this on paper, and there's 8 sheets of paper going in at half time. This is all, as I say, done by a single operator, and I'm going to get this up for you now. Bear with me while I just share the screen. So this is Kerry and Derry for the weekend, to give a bit of a context. So straight away, all you do here is, because you're clicking every kick out, every turnover, every shot, this data is all going into the back end. So there's Kerry's kickouts. Simple as this. Right click, kickouts for team 2, which was Derry. Right click again, shots for team 1. Again, the squares are frees, the circles are from play, the triangles are marks, and the black line around is goal shots. There's a legend on that as well. I just turn it off because I'm so familiar with it. Shots for team 2. Turnovers again against Kerry, and turnovers against Derry. And obviously the context of that game is quite telling, because Kerry made 5 turnovers in the Derry half, and you can see the reds turned into unconverted shots, the greens turned into points, and the green with the black circle turns into goals. So you can see there that it gives you a quick visual that Kerry scored 1-2 off high turnovers there, or in the context of a particularly windy game. I put on my data for time, and we'll see that's the second half. Kerry made 4 turnovers inside the 45 there and scored 1-2 off it. So it's giving you out all of that data live. You're getting that after 20 minutes at halftime, whatever. At the end of the game, you go back and decide, maybe there's a period here where I want to specifically look at from minute 10 to minute 20 with a black card or whatnot. And then obviously on top of all that, it also gives you out this key chart, which I suppose is sort of just a staple summary that, you're getting this live. And again, we'll go through the context for how important this can be. That's actually that's the second half figures there. I have my data for time on. I think, have we got our whole game up there? I think we have. Yeah. So second half is still up. But look, but that'll give you your whole game figures. And as I say, at halftime, as we'll see, we'll go to the concrete examples. So that's all coming out live. One operator is getting all that. So you've got before you go into your real Moneyball stuff, which one of which we're going to look at specifically in the show today. You've got all the basic diagrams, shot maps, kick out maps, turnover maps, what happened off them, and that summary, which really is the goals, phase of possession, the shot ratio, etc.
So on the mainframe, right, you literally have an operator, right? Doesn't need to be Bill Gates manning this thing, right? Someone with just a rudimentary grasp of computers, or even it's basically just, if there's a turnover, it's just a click, right?
Simple as that.
And everything, the system takes care of basically everything else.
Yeah. You can teach someone to use this in 3 minutes, 5 or 6 minutes if a new one comes up in a game or two. But yeah, it's designed to be idiot proof to use. Anyone that understands, that knows the basic rules of the game, can use it. Again, if you don't want to go down the kind of Moneyball data route, you've got all your lovely charts there. Still huge value in that match summary. That's only one of the pages. There's a huge amount comes off this, some of which we're going to look at today. But
like a chimpanzee could operate this
if they understood the rules of daily football. Yes, they could.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to move in, right? Are you happy enough with the technical side there?
Yeah, that's a general overview of how it works. Yeah, we'll get looking at some concrete scenarios.
Lovely. Okay, listen, we're going to feed into just a piece on Monaghan. All right. Now, we analysed Monaghan massively in the last, 12 months across the square D. We analysed certain patterns, different things that were working, not working. And there's a very interesting pattern to this, and how the nuances of this technology drove Monaghan's game from a team that I think when they kicking ball through the middle third instead of hands-on ball, and the effectiveness and how it highlighted their shortcomings, and that if this wasn't resolved and changed,
you're probably taking a step again for maybe the third of these shows. Absolutely. I mean, it jumped out at me watching the game. I was in Croker on Saturday night. This time last year, they were trying to kick ball through the middle third against Kerry and being massacred on the turnover. They were just running the ball hard against Dublin. But this particular was actually, it's related to that, but it's somewhat different. And this is me looking, I suppose, from a Galway point of view when you're working against Monaghan in 18 and 19. Now, this isn't a comprehensive list of all of Monaghan's games, but there's a good scatter from 2018 and one or two 2019. And I'm looking at some point of view. I worked for Galway in 2019, and you're playing Monaghan in the league, for example, and a huge amount of data up there. We're going to talk through the basics. So the key point in this is, if we look at the very bottom of the screen, there's 8 games I have punched in here, and Monaghan have had 64 kickouts. They've won 58. They've lost 4. Now, your basic Sunday game stats show they've scored 219, conceded 10. But let me get the whole table. That's their short kickouts, which is the crux of this matter. But if we let this data feed in, we'll see, to go back, it's 162 kickouts, 122 won and 40 lost. So we see they scored 235, conceded 15. So they made a profit of 0.16 points, or 16% of a point per kick out. Now, that data in its own right doesn't really tell you a huge amount. Now, why do I choose Monaghan? I love Monaghan because everybody was petrified of Monaghan's long kick out. And I'm going to start by looking at Monaghan's long kickouts in over those 8 games, 6 from 2018 and 2 from 2019. The ones I would have had on file for them. And again, we look here, table mode, and I'm only counting the Sunday game stats for now, shall we say. So I was over here, you see on the left, I've chosen the games to use in this. I've just clicked the games where of significance. I've knocked out games where they had a red card. So they've on long kickouts, they've scored 18 and conceded 13, which is a 5% profit. And I know I've chosen particular games there because generally that figure was neutral. But the point is, the great fear of the begging kick out over the top, which was imprinted in people's memories in the Super 8s game in 18 against Kerry, it didn't carry the value people thought. Now, the more significant factor is what happened on the first turnover each. When we consider the ones they won then got turned over, they've actually made a loss in that period on those kickouts. So they scored 21 and they've conceded 25. Monaghan were essentially losing 4% of a point per kick out. They went long. What happens when they go short? And this is where the real devil was in the detail, where your strategy would be different maybe to other teams. 64 short kickouts, 58 they've won, 219 scored, 10 points conceded. They've actually profited 0.23 per short kickout. And all of a sudden, when you're armed with that data, it tells you, and it's what happened going in the scheme where bad first half, playing to a huge win in the second half. The obvious thing there is to say, well, we'll let them have the kick out. No, the data is saying let Monaghan go long on the kick out and we'll force them to play ball. Let them get hands on ball. It's death by 1,000 cuts. As it happened,
see, a lot of this really is ingrained in people's memory. You know, I mean, if you go back over, let's say the 2018 All Ireland final, right? You know, you look at some of the, you know, in that period. Like, I mean, you take Cluxon's famous kick into Niall Scully over the thrown blanket, right?
Yes.
Or Scully gets a ball, bears it and goal. Con O'Callaghan gets a goal in the back of it, right? Marquee moments like this, like Rory Beggan and different goalies, right? Over time, Niall Morgan, when he's gone along, Con Kilpatrick is feeding in around the middle. He's ballooned the ball, you know, into the forwards. They've got a goal off it right in thrown stakes. But people are often blinded by the kind of, you know, the spectacular when it does come
That's
off,
right.
rather than
That's
exactly
right.
what's going on. You know, and in some respects, right, brilliant and all as he is, as we highlighted in the show, when people talk about David Clifford being this phenomenon last year, right? An awful lot of the you know, the success was high risk. Had it been actually recycled, reworked, given the forwards that had around them, you know, Kerry would have had a higher value of overall score.
And we will go into that concept on the third of these shows. This is one of a set of three. Absolutely. And it is, but it's like outswinging corners are half the value of in-swinging corners in soccer, but they're memorable because they tend to meet it dead on and it breaks the back of the net. In-swingers tend to be bundled over the line and shouldered in or kneed in, but they're twice as successful as outswinging corners. So that concept is right. We remember the long run over the top. Now, funny you mentioned Tyrone. Tyrone's figures would be different. They did win that All-Ireland final against Mayo off the back of long kick-out, scored 1-2 or 1-3, and a better percentage on the long ones than the short ones. So that's what actually alludes to the whole thing. But it definitely is. And again, to give another example here, which plays into this, and this was Galway's figures from 2018 in the National League when I was working with them. And again, this is key because you look at Galway's short kickouts, hands on ball, 28 kickouts, scored 2-7, conceded 3 points. That's a profit of 0.36 of a point per short kick. Now, that's including the first turnover each. And the expected score, which is over here, is 0.36. So it wasn't a freak, even though they got a couple of goals. There's a load of, there's 10 wides in there as well. Now, we go into their kickouts to midfield, count the first turnover each throughout the National League. This is the league where Galway won 6-1, went straight to the league final. Scored 121, conceded 23. Galway have actually made a marginal loss on the kick-out, on the long kickouts compared to the short kickouts. Now, how does that potentially affect strategy going into, say, a league final? I would have been on the view that year, and I would have been shared with the management, that we were too risk-averse on short kickouts. And the point I'm making there is Galway were basically, and this is factoring in the first turnover each. Or if Galway get hands on ball, what did they score? Minus what was scored on the turnover. Galway were scoring 1 point every 3 kickouts. When they banged it long, it was more or less neutral, slight loss. What that's actually saying is, if you were to kick 4 kickouts of the day, and you know you'll lose 1 every 4, and it'll be kicked straight over your bar, it's still, on average, the same value as just banging it long. And that's a key instruction you can give to a goalkeeper. That, obviously, the more mathematically based on it, I hadn't accounted the goals before, you'd explain it in those terms. If you was less on the spectrum of accountants, you might say, listen, if you think it's onto the day at all, go for it. Whereas you could explain it probably to Linesy and Centralstown, listen, if those were your figures, if you reckon it's a 75% or better chance to get it short, get it short. It was applied odds on it. But essentially, you go out in that National League final, if you look at it, so that data backed up that Rory Lavelle hit a lot of very dangerous kickouts. Landed them all on the day, but I'd have said, even if you got 1 or 2 wrong, as long as it didn't end up in goals, and even if it ended up as goals, that there was still definitely was value in them. And that's the key value in this data.
And obviously, we give a big shout out to Linesy down in Centralstown. There's the hero himself. So, come here, listen, let's motor on, right, to Tinner Island. Okay, let's crystallise this, right? Give us an example, a concrete example of how the software allowed you to turn a game on its head.
Okay, if we look here, this is Tinner Island Bagelstown. So this was half time in the game we played in Championship last year. You're looking at half time. It's 69% phase with shots in Tinner Island, 42% for Bagelstown. Now look at 7-1. Expected score was 6.3, 3.2. That was generally the average stats. 6-3.5 to Tinner Island against the non-top 3 teams in Carlow. So despite the fact that we had quite an aggressive and effective high press, the philosophy and the mathematics for me as the head coach and manager always was, why would we risk an aggressive press letting in a goal when we don't really need to take that risk? Because laws of averages, we should be winning games 12-6. We move on a year playing Bagelstown again, and they're a horse of a different colour. They're not kicking loose ball away. And I'm looking at this at half time. Expected score 6.1 to 6.5. Should be more or less a draw. They're 2 up. They've got phases with shots on 73%. Expected score per 10 phases 4.3. Now, this is a radical shift in the space of a year. We've basically been giving up the kickouts. We look here. We look at our kickouts for Team 1. Sorry, I need to pause that video for you to be able to see that. She's running in the background there silently. So again, this is first half. That's our kickouts. That's their kickouts. We've basically given them up on the basis that expected score is 2.7 per 10 phases. We're scoring more on the turnover than they're actually scoring on the initial phase. However, as I say, we move forward here. They're scoring 73%. I'm looking at this data at halftime and before halftime. We've given them those 7 short kickouts. They scored 1-2 and conceded 1 in the turnover. Their expected profit per short kick is 0.43. This is a complete upturn on anything we faced against this team before, on anything we faced from one of the non-top 3 teams in the championship. What are you doing? Straight away, the value changes. Start of the second half, that's your kick-out press. And in the second half, we won as many kickouts as we lost and profit.
Yeah, load that second slide there, will you?
Sorry, I thought we had her up. Show it there. Again, it's only incidental. The principle is the value in giving up the kick-out had completely changed. The data had completely changed on anything we had done previously. So next thing, it's a 12-man press. Because all of a sudden, the risk of conceding the goal is much bigger than the risk stroke inevitability of keeping giving hands on ball. Their score of 1-2, expected score of over a point per 2 kickouts. The data showed our game strategy had to change at halftime. It did. Flipped it over. And I think we were 13-8 up on 58 minutes, if I remember correctly. Won by a couple of points in the end still.
Yeah, and I mean, all those type of tactical ends are formulated on, all your employed odds of risk and reward.
Yeah.
Like, again, the software is really reinforcing an awful lot for coaches, possibly what they're seeing, possibly what they're not. So in terms of, a concession of the opponent's kick out, how profitable is that? It looks at them going long. It's all the time employing values around these figures, right?
Yeah.
So it's very important for coaches to realize you do not have to do the donkey work on this. Straight away, you pull up a sheet at halftime, bang, 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 bang. How's our short kick out? How's our long kick out? How's our kick out concession? How's their long kick out? How's their short kick out? What do we need to go after here, right?
Yeah.
Now, assuming there's not extraordinary conditions like a hurricane blowing,
Yes.
then it's a case of, okay, let's get after these guys. Let's shut down their kick. Or conversely, let's let them have it. Let's see what they're doing. So it's all the time changing to what's going on in any given match. And in terms of data collation before a game, feeding in videos of opposition teams into the software, building a profile over time, is also going to give you empirical values around all the things you need to know. So when you're preparing the team for every game, right, the days of going in preparing your team the same way for every single team is obviously pie in the sky. This is essentially you play what is in front of you, right? And this feeds in to that frenzy whereby you need to know exactly the strengths and weaknesses of the team you're against. And then you target them and you dismantle them based on their strengths and weaknesses with the software feedback.
Broadly speaking, I mean, as a coach, I like to kind of Limerick hurling philosophy. We're playing it our way, and if you can be better than us at it, great. But within that context, you're still okay. We'll change from A to B to C within that context. I'm not saying this is necessarily a sales pitch that you should be playing your tactics around every other given team, but certainly within it maybe or within the context of what you're doing. As I say, in that case, whereas the Bagelstown figures and the Monaghan figures have been completely different, in that first half of that championship game, a year after we had seen them, their figures have become more like Monaghan's, like Galway 2018. The data was there and it showed all of a sudden, like Monaghan, like if you're playing against Galway in 2018, letting them have hands on ball is just bad value. And look, the data, I suppose, at the end fed in hugely to win the day on that particular occasion.
Yeah, and I mean, interesting enough, those who would have subscribed to the show last year would have obviously seen that we got a lot of predictions bang on with regards to exactly what type of phase levels to expect across the matches, particularly in the business end of the season. What the predicted score was going to be like, which was very, very, very tight margins in actual fact how it played out. So, there is real value in what these can actually do. So what I'd say there, right, to all the coaches who are looking in and different club administrators, okay, there's a 1 month free trial, right, where you will get all the tutorial, everything you need. Now, this is very, very user-friendly. And in that 1 month free trial, you can basically play around with it. You'll know very quickly how user-friendly this is and how adaptable this is to the different skills in your team. So look, as we said, the website earlier on, right, is GAAProStats.com. So you can visit there, get set up. You will be dealing with the professor himself for all you lucky winners who are going to come in. And we wish you many years of happy hunting with GAA Pro Stats. Professor, last word to you.
No, that's the first one. We'll have 3 of these. We'll go into their whole team features. We'll go into a second element of whole team features and the individual data on episode 2 and 3 of this particular set.
Excellent. Well, listen, folks, it's over and out. We will see you early next week for our next installment. In the meantime, take care and go easy.